Welcome to Xtra presented by VDG Sports. I am your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. It changed. New season, it changed. I want to talk about the death of Blackberry. The death of Blackberry. Everyone saw this coming except me and Blackberry, of course. Everyone saw this coming except me and Blackberry. And I remember the first one that I bought was long ago. I paid about $400 for it straight out. $400 for it straight out. And as I recall, and as I'm thinking back so long ago, everything about the phone I enjoyed except one thing, and this, along with some other things, was the major slip up, the major faux pas of the organization itself. And you can go and check and read some of the articles talking about how, or read some of the articles that suggest that this was the major thing. And I agree for the most part. I definitely agree. The keypad was definitely something that I enjoyed. I was able to just write out my text and write out just real quick, and just the buttons there, the physical buttons, you could just physical buttons was there, and I could just pop it out. And that's not what you're thinking. Not pop that out, but pop out a text, pop out a message, pop out an email or something to that nature, and have it quicker and faster than the iPhone or Android at the time. But where everything was super, and yes, duper slow with this, it's navigating or trying to do things other than messaging and messages, mobile. The apps were subpar. Doing anything mobile was horrific, atrocious, just not good enough. And I'm guessing this can play into them completely ignoring Apple, them completely ignoring Android, and how those phones were being developed. Not necessarily the keypad, because there was a few phones out there that still had keypads as well, but making things more mobile friendly and being able to be on the go. So not only was it a phone, it was transitioning into other things as well, being able to do multiple things on this device, along with being a phone. Whereas Blackberry, yeah, it was cool. It was called the Crackberry back in the day, and it had the messaging, but you had to offer more than messaging. You had to offer more than keypads. And I tried to hold on to my Curve for the longest. I tried to hold out, and it just got to the point where when I was weighing the pros and cons, sure, it was small enough to fit in the palm of my hands. Yeah, I can pump out text and I can do the text messaging. Yeah, it actually allowed me to make phone calls, receive, answer, voicemail. Yeah, it allowed me to check my email. But everything else at the time was difficult to do, and I still had to be in front of a computer. I still had to be in front of a computer and utilize a computer for things that you would think of now as, wow, really? That's wow. wow, really? That is wow. Because the other phones at the time were trending to that, making these other options more readily available on the phone and user friendly. Whereas I can pull up a web browser, but the web browser is super slow. Yes, things were slow back then, but this was like beyond slow. And weighing the pros and cons and just thinking about, okay, I really, 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 really like the keypad, but is having a keypad, is being able to pop out texts and emails and all of that business kind of stuff, is that going to be the end all be all? Is that going to be the main reason why I hold on to this device when other devices, other phones can offer me a keypad, but not the physical one, but offer me a keypad where all the letters are available? Because think back to that era, or at least a little bit before that. Phones and texting was sort of a new concept, and phones only had the numbers, and you had to hit the numbers so many times to get the letter. Like, I think 1 was ABC and 2 was, and so you had to do that to actually get the letters out. And so that's why Blackberry at the time with the keypad was like, whoa, amazing. And amazing is my favorite word. But then with the other phones around that time, it actually offered all of the letters, and you didn't have to do the numbers to get a letters, and it was just on the screen. It was the phone itself. Touchpad. And it started getting hard and harder and harder to justify. It started to get harder and harder to justify a reason to continue keeping this only for the keypad when I can get a keypad, but it's not physical, and allow me to do the same thing in addition to other things, making my life a little bit easier. Because why would you want to be difficult? Why would you want your life to be difficult when for the same price or a little bit cheaper, you can go a different direction and a different route and make it easier and simpler? And by the time Blackberry caught on, by the time they caught on and figured out and realized that they actually had to do the touch and not the touch. It was a little too late then. It was too late. Everything was in free fall. Everything was bad. And it was over. It was over just that quick. And when I mean that quick, 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years after peaking, done. 2 to 3 years after peaking, and I'm being generous with 3 because it was still around, but nobody had one. It was still around, but it was just there. And then it went away, and I think it came back and it went away. But now I'm assuming that it is officially done. So it is officially gone. And I just had to bring up this memory, and I just had to hit you with this topic. And I still have the receipt. Yeah, I still have the receipt. So when I purchased my first Blackberry, and yes, this is true, I'm looking at it now. When I purchased my first Blackberry Curve, I still have the receipt for it. I still see the price. That's how I know the price. my account number, and guess what? I still got the same phone number. I still have the same phone number that I had way back then. I still got it now. I still have it now. And I just wanted to give this, not even a shout out, just give this acknowledgement and kind of like a hat tip to Blackberry, because it definitely was my favorite phone. I enjoyed it and I liked it more than I liked Apple or Android or even Nokia at the time and some of the other brands, but they just made it so hard and made it so difficult where it took more work to use one and have one. And it just got too much to bear. It was just too much to bear. And I just said, I'm going to go a different route here. I'm going to go a different route. And I held out as long as possible. I waited out. By the time that the company was in free fall, that was around the time where I was hitting the eject button and going somewhere else. Hitting the eject button and going somewhere else. And it definitely took me a while. It took me a while to get to where I'm at now. And I've been where I'm at now for a long period of time. It took me a while to get there because once again, I wasn't that big and I'm not that big on Apple, and I wasn't at the time, and it took me a long time to get there. And even when I got there, I went and switched and went to Samsung. I went and switched and went to Android. And then after waddling around for 3 to 4 years with that, I decided, I'm just going to do Apple. I'm just going to do the iPhone because it was a feature that I enjoyed. It was a feature that I liked, and I sort of been there stuck ever since because and that's the he, and not the ha ha. Once you get in that ecosystem, that is all she wrote, because everything works off of everything. And sure, you can get a different brand or the competitor to utilize the same device, but it isn't buttery smooth. It isn't buttery smooth. There's some resistance there. And when it comes to everything working in synergy, when it comes to everything working together, I am so deep down that ecosystem rabbit hole. I just go the path of least resistance. I just go with the path of least resistance. However, I still got it. Angelic, bird-like voice. However, there are a few products and there are a few things where I haven't went down or I haven't completed the circle with Apple. And I just kind of said, I need some independence. Like Apple Music, definitely not there. I'm with a different one. And no, it's not Spotify either. Even with the automated stuff, I'm definitely not with Apple either. Different direction. But everything else, everything else pretty much. And I only blame one company for this. I blame one company for this. I blame one product for this. But hey, I can't pick on you anymore. You are officially, I believe, gone, donezo once again. But hey, we still have our memories. Memories, how I do recall.